Want to turn any move into a killer attack? I'm about to show you how, starting with punches. And you can use this method for any combat animation. First, we'll grab some Mixamo animations and set them up. Next, we'll create a combat dummy. And finally, we'll set up the character to take down that dummy. I'm excited, so let's go ahead and dive in. Okay, so to start out with, the first thing we're going to do is go to the Mixamo site and grab our skeleton. I usually use the Xbot. And then next, we're going to grab some animations. So the first animation we're going to grab is this dying backwards animation. We're going to need that. Next, we're going to need this big stomach hit. And then finally, we're going to need a punch. Now, it's important that we get this jab punch if you want to follow along. So you just type in punching in the search, get the jab punch. And then what you want to do is you're going to hit download. And you want to do all your animations without the skin, okay? And then what you're going to do again is once you've downloaded all three of these, you're going to get the same one here. So the first one's going to be this left punch. We're going to mirror this and turn it into a right punch. So when it shows up in when we download it, it's going to have a copy, and the copy is going to be the right punch. Okay. Now that we've got that done, let's go ahead and move on to our project. Okay, here we got our starter project. It's going to be the third-person template with the starter content enabled. We're going to go to the content folder, and we're going to go ahead and import our animations. Now, once I've moved all mine from the download folder to my desktop, and I'm going to show you how I'm going to import them in. First, we're going to have to create a new folder. We're going to call it the Mixamo folder. We're going to go inside the Mixamo folder. We're going to create another folder. Call this animations. Okay, let's go ahead and start by importing our skeleton. So I got the Xbox. You can just hit the import because we're only importing one file here. We can close that. Close that. Do a Control, Shift, and S to save and update the skeleton. Next, we're going to go into our animations folder, and we're going to import all of our animations. Okay. By holding down the Control key and doing a left click, we can grab all of our animations one by one. The big stomach hit, the dying backwards. This is the right punch, and here's the left punch, and hit open. We're going to have to select the skeleton. We're going to use the Xbox skeleton we just imported. And we're going to select import all. Remember to do a Control Shift S. All right, we're going to right click on one of our animations, and we're going to select to retarget it. Right here in the targeted skeleton, we're going to just type in simple. And I'm going to use the Quinn skeleton. We're going to left click and then hold down Shift and then left click again to select all of our animations. We want to use the export animations. And what we're going to do is we're going to go into our content folder here, go to Mixamo, go to animations folder. And for the prefix, I'm going to just put QNY for the Quinny skeleton and underscore. And that'll be the prefix of so we can easily search for our animations and select export. And then select export again. We can do a Control Shift S. And that, yes, okay. And we can close this out. Now, we're going to left click here. Hold down Shift, left click, grab all of these animations. We're going to right click. And we're going to go to the create, and we're going to create a montage. Control Shift S again. Okay, so we're going to select our dying backwards montage. Double click it. And right here where it says enable blend out, we're going to uncheck that. What that's going to do is it's going to allow us to stay in the fallback position after the animation plays. Okay. Do a Control Shift S to save. And then next, we're going to have to add some montages to our punching. So we'll start with this left punch here. Okay, so for the punching here, we're going to need to grab the montage. So we're going to double, okay, so you can tell that from a quick view, you can tell the green is the regular animation and the montage is in the purple line here. So we'll double click that. And then here, what we're going to do is we're going to set this to, we're going to pause this. And what we want to do is we want to grab this, we want to scrub right here until we have the punch at its full extent, okay? Right about here is pretty good. Doesn't have to be perfect. We're going to go into the right here on this, right here. We're going to right click and we're going to add a notify. We're just going to add a regular notify and that's it. We don't have to name it or anything. So do a Control-Shift-S. And then what we want to do is we've got the one montage. So that's for the right punch. We're going to do the same thing for the left punch. So we double click here and it has switched to our other montage. Same thing. Pause. Scrub to the right point. Like it doesn't have to be perfect, but you want it fully extended. And then right here, we're just going to right click and add a montage notify. Control-Shift-S. Okay, so we can close this out now that we have it saved. Now, we're going to need to create our actual combat dummy. So we're going to go to the content folder, third person, into the blueprint folder. Right here, we're going to highlight that, and then we're going to just do a Control-D, and then we're going to name it to BP underscore, and then dummy. Control-Shift-S. Double click to open it up. Now, since this is a dummy, we don't really need any of this stuff, certain things. So we don't need, let's see, we don't need this camera and the boom and the follow camera. So we just highlight those and just go ahead and select the delete. We don't need any of this logic here. We can go ahead and delete that as well. And we can do a compile and a save. Let's go ahead and select on the viewport. Take a look at our dummy here. And we're going to make him or her look like a dummy by selecting the mesh. And we're going to go into the details here. Scroll down to where we got these materials, element 0 and 1. We're going to select this right here. And let's just type in wood. And then what I'm going to do here is I'm going to select this, I think I like this wood oak. Okay. And I'm going to select that again by doing that for the other part. Wood. And I'm going to select oak again. Control-Shift-F to save changes. Okay, so right now we're going to need to go to the event graph. We're going to create two variables. We're going to call them health. And we're going to change this to a float. And we're going to do another one. But we're going to call this one max health. Compile and save. Scroll in. And then now we're just going to go ahead and build our logic. Okay, let's go ahead and walk through the code. So, right here, we're going to need to set the regular health variable to 100. Compile and save. The max health, we're going to set it to the same. Compile and save. Now, earlier, I had to drag off of here, and when I created this clamp float, I had to change these two variables changed to the float instead of an integer. So that's what we got going on here. So make sure the health and the max health are a float. Now, as we go here, so we've got these two variables saved. So our dummy is going to receive damage. It's going to have the max health. That's what's going to be a minimum of 0, the maximum of whatever the max health is, in this case 100. Once this equals 100, once this equals 0, if it's false, then it's going to play an animation. Now the animation we're going to want to play, or the montage rather, is going to be the big hit. big stomach hit montage. And then what we're going to do is we're going to print out every time that the montage plays and the health is reduced. And we're going to just go ahead and we're going to give it a 5-second duration to show the health. And then we're going to change this to red to show that, and the print string is going to show us our health going down. And it looks more orange. Let's try red. I want a red. And then hit OK. Compile. And then do a Control-Shift-S to save. I'm going to right click and I'm going to dock this to the side for a moment. And then what I want you to do is take your time, pause the video here, and copy this part of the code. Once you're done, come back and we'll continue. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and we're going to continue. Now we've got all this logic here. Now we need to set up for when the character dies. Okay, so now, once this equals 0 is set to true, that means the character's run out of health and they've died. So what we're going to need to do here is we're going to go ahead into our montages, and we're going to select the dying backwards animation. Now, remember, this animation will stay dead on the ground until you reactivate it. So what we're going to do is we can't do a delay on the complete. We have to do it at the beginning of the montage here. Oh, also before I forget, for play montages, you got to make sure you add the mesh to the skeletal mesh component. So let's go ahead and drag and drop and put those on, like so. So let's set this to the dying montage. So that should be right here, dying backwards. And then do a compile and a save. Now, we want to go back to another state. So I didn't have a chance to do that yet. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back to the idle state. So we're going to select the content folder. And we're just going to go up to your top, select that. And then we're just going to type in the word idle. Okay? Now, all we need to do is grab one of these idles, do a left click, right click, and then we're going to create a montage, okay? And then select enter. Control-Shift-S. Now, right here under the montage to play after, okay, we're going to change this to 10 seconds because this 10 seconds is going to allow the other montage to play. And then a few seconds afterwards, we're going to play this next one. Hit enter. And then select the montage, and then we're going to select the idle montage, okay? And we're going to do a compile and a save. All right. Pause the video here and take the time to copy this part of the code. Okay, great. We're back. So let's go ahead. We won't need this anymore. We can just go ahead and do a Control-Shift-S, make sure we got everything, and close. Now we're going to move on. Okay, sorry, quick interrupt. So in this next part here, we're going to set up the character logic to where we can do a left and right punch. We're going to do this with the left and the right mouse button. And it's going to look a little something like this. Okay, got it? Good. All right, back to the video. Okay, so we're going to go to the content folder. We're going to close out that part there. And we're going to go, to the content folder, back into characters. I'm sorry, not characters, content. We're going to go third person, blueprint again. And this time we're going to open up the third person character. Now, we're going to need to go to the viewport. I'm going to undock this. And what we want to do here is we're going to have to create a way for our character to hit the dummy. So in order to do that, we're going to need to create something called collisions. Now, right here, we're going to select our mesh and we're going to select add. Okay, so the spheres the correct spheres to make is going to be, we're going to select the mesh, we're going to hit add, and what we want is, we want a collision. So we're going to type in collision, and we want the sphere collision. Okay, so we're going to call this punch left sphere. Let's try this again. Add. I'm going to add another sphere here. And we're going to call this punch right. Okay, so we got our punch left and our punch right sphere. Compile and save. Now, for this sphere here, okay, before we do anything, we're going to select the mesh. And we're going to have it stop animating here. So what we're going to do is we're just going to go into the part here in animations. And we're just going to use animation asset just to make the character hold still for a moment. Use the mouse scroll back in order to slow down to navigate nice and easily. Next, we're going to select our sphere. And we're going to use the lock key here. Select one of these and do a 0.3. That will be the size that we're going to be looking for. We're going to do this for the left and the right sphere. Same thing. Okay, compile and save. Now, let's select one of our spheres. So I got the right sphere here. We're going to select the parent socket. Now, we're not going to use a socket. It's usually best to use a socket, but we're going to use the actual bone. So we're going to use the folder here. And what we're going to just use is for the sphere, right sphere, we're going to use the hand underscore R, which is the right hand in the bone. And that's going to adjust it there. While we're here, we're going to also do that for the left sphere. Same exact process. Just type in hand, L. Just the regular one. Okay. We can do a compile save. Now, while we're here, okay, we're going to, like I said, make sure you use your mouse scroll to adjust the speed of your camera. You're going to grab this here and you're going to adjust it to where it's over the hand. Now, something I forgot to do. We're going to change this increment here to 1, okay? So we're not zipping around here either. So we can get a little bit more of a fine tune there, okay? Once you've got it over the hand and it looks pretty good, you're going to move on to the next one. So we're going to do the right sphere. Same thing. Does it have to be perfect? No, but you know, the better it is, the more accurate it is. Compile and save. Okay, we're done with this part for now. So let's go ahead and move on to our event graph and create the logic. Now, in our third person here, we're just going to start right here at the top. I'm going to scroll in, and I'm going to begin creating the logic. Okay, so to start out with this piece of code here, what I've done is I've added, we're going to use the left mouse button, and this is going to, we're setting up for our punch. So right here, we're going to go for the character movement. We're going to stop the character. If the character's in the air, they can't punch. So it will be true set to false. If the character is attacking, it's not going to like repeat its attack over and over again. That's what this is for. And then right here, we're going to disable the movement. And we've pulled that strictly off of this right here. So that's setting up just to make sure we have a clean animation and it doesn't have all kinds of weird attacking in the air and everything. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm dock this to the sidebar. And then I'm going to move that here. And right here, take the time to copy this part of the code. And then we'll continue. Okay, great. Okay, so now here's the next part of the code. So right here for the montage, so right when we come off, we're set to attacking. And then we're going to be playing the montage. So we're going to do punching. And remember, the left punch is the one that doesn't have the extra one at the end. Okay. Next, you're going to set this attacking right here that we created to false. And then finally, we're going to reset the movement back to walking because we want to make sure that we're not stuck in a disabled mode. Otherwise, we won't move around. Next, all you're going to do right here is drag the sphere off right here and put this and get the world location of this. You're going to get the pawn out for the object type. You're going to set up the self. That's the actors to ignore. We don't want to hit ourself. So that's all the components, including the capsule, everything that's about ourself. We don't want to bump our collision box into ourself. We're going to go through the for each loop. We're going to set this up, and then we're also going to use this damage, apply damage node here. And for the damage class, you just want to put damage type. And then the damage causer is going to be ourself. Now, for this code here, I'm going to slow down and stop the video right here for a minute. Or I'm not going to stop the video, but go ahead and pause the video here and copy this part of the code and then come back. Okay, great. Welcome back. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to copy all this code. So just do a left click and drag and create this box here. And we're going to highlight all this here. And we're just going to go up a little bit up here, right above. Hover the mouse here, do a Control D, and that's going to give us all of our code. Now, we didn't copy the left mouse button because we're going to use, for the right punch, we're going to use the right mouse button. So let's just do that. Okay. And then from here, now there's a little bit of something we're going to have to change here. So as we're going through, all this stuff can be exactly the same, which is fine, except for the playing for the montage for the right, we want to use the right punch. So that is going to be the montage punching with the 1 at the end. Do a compile save. Next. Okay, we're going to go left punch spear. So for this one, obviously, we want to do the right punch spear. So we're going to select this, left click, drag, and hover over this, and that will replace it as the right sphere. And that should be all set. Now, we're going to do a compile and save. We need to go to our third person map. I'm going to scroll in here. And we're going to go to our content drawer. We're going to take our dummy, which is located in blueprints, right? Oh, almost forgot. Go back to the third person. I'm going to undock the sidebar here. We're going to go to our mesh. And we're going to reset our animation mode back to the blueprint mode. And it's just going to set it back to its default. So we're going to go compile and save. And that's just so we're actually idling again. Okay. Back to the third person map. Content. Drag your dummy out into the viewport. I'm going to hit the E key, and I'm just going to rotate it around so it's facing us. And then we can go ahead and test this out. Okay, there's something I just thought about I forgot. We're going to have to go back to the third person. Okay, and in the event graph, under applied damage, so at the end of your code, we're going to have to apply damage. So we're going to do 20 for the base damage for this one. And don't forget, we've got to also do it for that's for the right punch. And we also got to do it for the left punch. So go here into the base damage and type in 20 again. And hit enter. Do a compile and a save. We're going to need to add the element here to the damage actor to make sure that it applies. And right here, we need to add the other one as well, the damage actor. Now we can do a compile and save. Okay, while we're here, I think there was something else I made a slight mistake on. So we're going to have to change from this notify end to this notify begin. That's where our notify is. So make sure we change that. And we're going to have to do that for both. So let's go ahead and make sure that we correct that as well. It shouldn't be on the end. It should always be on the beginning because that's where we have our notify at. Like so. Do a compile and save. Okay, let's head over to our third person map. All right, let's try it out. Okay, as you can see here, we got the left punch, we got the right punch, jumping up in the air, nothing happens. We're gonna go and hit the person. And you can see on the left corner, you got 80, 60, 40, 20, and then this should be 0. And our character should fall, dummy should fall down. After about 10 seconds, the character should pop back up with its health renewed. So let's try it out again. And right, and yes, it's working good. Now, something I did notice, there's some other parts of the code, like if you keep hitting, even if it's at 0, he's dead. It's just, I didn't put extra code to fix that, but I just wanted to give a basic foundation of how it works here. As you can see here, it's working. And then back to 0, and there we go. So, that does it for today's video. I hope you had fun learning this hand-to-hand combat. I hope everything is good. And please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.